Hi, this is Pauline Hayes with Skills for Managing the Business. This is an introduction to project management. The role of project manager has developed to such an extent that it is now seen as a job in itself, one that is essential and exists in all large industries. Typically, the project manager will plan, initiate, manage and maintain large projects, and usually manage all project resources, establish their own procedures and the protocols required to achieve the project goals. Maybe you would enjoy a career in project management where you would manage a project from the initial planning stages through to delivery. We will take a brief look at project management in this lesson. Project management is a necessary role now because projects are often international or global in industries such as IT, construction and telecommunications. A project manager or PM might manage a new systems development and rollout, or equipment installations, or development of a new building or complex. Who needs these skills? Project management is a skill that most managers will need to deploy every day. Planning, organising and delivering projects is fundamental to most management roles. It calls for skills you probably already have: strong time management skills, organisation, leadership and attention to detail. So, for example, a manager tasked with carrying out a feasibility study for a new business would deploy project skills. Also, if they were asked to manage the launch of a new department or product, or open a new retail store, all of these would need project management skills. So in this context, a project is a piece of work with a defined timescale that will produce a particular result, be it a product or a service. It will usually have its own budget, quality standards and goals. This is in contrast to ongoing or repetitive activities that continually produce products or services, such as running a production line or a store. The management of these two types of activities calls for different skills, controls, and management strategies. Project management as a discipline was developed in fields such as civil construction, engineering and defence around the 1950s. Before this, most managers would rely on simplistic tools such as the Gantt chart and critical path analysis. A Gantt chart is a type of bar chart developed by Henry Gantt in the 1910s. It illustrates a project schedule, offering a visual illustration of the start and finish dates of the different parts of a project. To complete a project successfully, a large number of activities have to be controlled and completed on schedule. Sometimes a new part of the project can't be begun until the previous part is completed, and sometimes tasks can overlap. If one deadline is missed or something is finished out of sequence, it can affect the rest of the project. So it is useful to be able to see all the tasks that need to be done and know when each one has to be completed. Gantt charts convey the information visually by depicting the tasks in a project and their order against a timescale. This gives an overview of a project. To make a Gantt chart, all the tasks involved in the project will need to be defined, as well as who is responsible for each task, how long it will take, and what problems may arise. Once the detailed planning is done, the manager will know that the schedule is workable, The right people are allocated to each task, and there are contingency plans in place. They will be able to establish the minimum time the project will take to deliver, and which tasks have to be completed before others can start. The chart can be used to model schedule changes and their implications, or to communicate that key tasks are complete. Critical path analysis, or CPA, is a technique used by project managers that defines the activities needed to complete a project, the time that will be required for each activity, and the relationship between the activities. The critical path is the length of the sequence of tasks that have to be completed individually so that the project is completed. It helps to identify the critical path, or the element of the task with the longest timescale associated with it. Put simply, this defines if a project can be completed in time. Once the critical path is established, the earliest completion time can be calculated. It may also be used to reorganize the project if problems are encountered. Food preparation as an example. An example that most people will easily associate with is food preparation. So let's consider a meal which includes roasting some beef, which is to be left in a beautiful marinade overnight prior to cooking. The meat requires a roasting time of 2 hours and is then left to rest for 30 minutes before being served. Accompaniments will be brown rice, which will require 20 minutes cooking time, and salad, which will be served cold. Before the meal, we'll serve some handmade appetizers, which require 30 minutes preparation time, but can be prepared in advance, and then 5 minutes frying time. After the meal, we will serve fresh fruit and cheeses. So the critical path is the preparation of the marinade, immersion of the meat in the marinade overnight, roasting of the meat, and the resting time of 30 minutes. This is the element of the task with the longest time scale associated with it. The preparation of the marinade and the marinating of the meat must be started the day before the meal, or the project cannot be completed on time. So on the day, assuming a meal time of T, the meat must be placed in a hot oven at T minus 2 hours and 30 minutes. If the oven takes 15 minutes to warm, it should be switched on at T minus 2 hours and 45 minutes, or the meal will be delayed. The rice should be put on at T minus 20 minutes to ensure it's ready but fresh and hot. Around this can be placed the other required activities such as salad preparation, which is not time critical, and the plating up of fruit and cheeses, also not time critical. We must remember to prepare the appetizers at some point so that they can be cooked at T minus 5 minutes. Oh no! We've planned all our food to be ready at the same time, when actually to serve and eat the appetizers will take 15 minutes. So we need to revise the other times around this. So the meat must be placed in the hot oven at T minus 2 hours and 15 minutes now. And the oven should be switched on at T minus 2 hours and 30 minutes. The rice should be put on at T minus 5 minutes, so it can cook while we eat the appetizers. The non-time critical elements can be planned into the schedule, but they may depend on other factors such as delivery of the products. This must be taken into account in their scheduling.